The only way to win this war is by finding this power source of the mimic horde and killing it. And the only means of finding it is in that safe right there. No matter how many times we have this conversation, you refuse to accept that the enemy breaks through to London tomorrow, and we lose everything.
Buzz smokers and movie lovers, welcome to another episode of 5 on It, a show where we do two things, smoke doobies and review movies. We are your hosts. I am Francisco. He is Sir Frazier. And on today's episode, we are reviewing a 2014 science fiction action movie directed by Doug Liman, starring Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt. We are talking Edge of Tomorrow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that stuff with your butt smokers and movie lovers. It helps us get out there to all the other butt smokers and movie lovers that want to take part in this show. But before we dive into all that, Sir Frazier, tell the people what we are smoking on right now, man.
Man, so I picked up this joint, man, from Saucy J. This is one of those live resin infused joints. This is pineapple and OG grape glue. I love all of that. It's a hybrid. Man, it's I've messed with this brand before, but I haven't tried this one. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this one is like, this strain. Activation time immediate. Yeah. That's what it says on the label.
Dude, I like how a lot of like even like edibles or whatever, they have an activation time. Mm-hmm. Like, that's kind of subjective in a way.
That's so thoughtful.
I know it's like this is going to kick in about 3.5 minutes. Like, bitch, I'm a heavy smoker. It's going to be at least a good 10 or 15 before I even feel something.
Perfect. It'll hit right as I'm hopping on the bus.
Or even like shit, if you're doing edibles, depends on if you've eaten anything. If you're eating that shit on an empty stomach, oh my god. That shit would hit you like a motherfucker. Man,
like a fucking brick wall. Mm-hmm. So, man, diving into this movie, as you mentioned, the director. So, for those of you who don't know, Doug Liman, he's also known for Swingers. Some of you might recognize that one. The Bourne Identity and the Roadhouse remake.
Yeah, the remake was actually decent with Jake Gyllenhaal, Conor McGregor. Definitely got some decent reviews went straight to Amazon Prime. But
okay.
A lot of people said it should have got a movie run. I think I agree with that. I watched it and it definitely was over the top in some ways, but it's Roadhouse. If you know Roadhouse, it's a bit over the top in a way. But with Conor providing some good laughs and definitely some good fighting scenes, Jake Gyllenhaal, he's a great actor. So if you haven't seen Roadhouse, definitely check it out. You know,
I've actually never seen the original, and I'm a Swayze fan, which feels like a contradiction saying those two things back to back. But I love Ghost. I'm a big fan of Point Break. I mean, that's just a fucking classic for me. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I do need to go back and check out Roadhouse, the original especially, and then check out that remake because I have heard good things. But yeah,
dude, I'm looking at. I don't want to interrupt you real quick, but I'm just looking at Doug Liman's his filmography real quick. He's putting out some bangers. You probably already mentioned it real quick, but Bourne Identity, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, Mr.
Also
and Mrs.
did
Smith.
American Made.
I never saw that one. I didn't recognize that one.
It was good. It was based on a true story. Another movie with Tom Cruise. I want to say it was about just some guy that was working for the government and for the cartel at the same time, running some drugs, doing some crazy shit. But it's based on a true story.
Some CIA shit right there.
Yeah. It's a wild movie, but definitely a different from Tom Cruise's usual movies that he's been putting out recently.
Yeah,
but it's worth a watch.
I mean, we talked about this with Tom Cruise, man. I understand. He's been in his action bag for a minute, especially with the Mission Impossible movies, and I think that he is very successful in that lane. I would say Maverick also falls in that category to some extent. Not to the same degree. But I mean, that's kind of a war kind of action movie in some ways, right? But I think he's actually at his best in dramas. I mean, I think that Jerry Maguire is an all-time favorite for me. A Few Good Men also an all-time favorite of mine. And those are just some of some earlier ones in the 90s.
He was in
I think Maverick was one of the best movies I've seen. In the 2020s.
What movie was that? He was in like a Patrick Swayze movie when he was younger, when he had like fucked up teeth.
He was in The Rain Man as well. That's something I haven't seen.
Nah, this was early.
He was also in The Firm. That I think it was the John Grisham based courtroom drama.
The Outsiders.
I haven't seen that one.
That was in '83.
Oh, yeah.
That has I want to say that has what's his name? Ralph Macchio in it as well. That's why I think when they're like when he's Pony Boy, I think he ends up dying in that movie. Spoiler alert. I mean, it came out in 1983, but he also got an Interview with the Vampire.
Oh man, damn, I forgot about that one.
I mean, Tom Cruise has
he's got range.
I mean, he's got a bunch of good movies. He hasn't done any I don't think he's dapped into the his drama bag recently. Like you said, he's been more in his action bag, but. Mm-hmm. And I definitely will take it because he's been doing some crazy stuff as far as like with flying the planes and Top Gun and all the stunts he does. And
he's
Mission
doing his
Impossible.
thing.
Jesus Christ! And he's like, I don't know how old he is, like 50-some damn years old. This dude's nuts. And it doesn't. I mean, this movie doesn't have any like crazy like over the top action scenes like anything like that. Mm-hmm. But the action scenes are well directed and they definitely hold him.
Dude, I even love him in fucking Tropic Thunder. Like, this dude has got mad range. He's like a very talented. I mean, never mind how, people may feel about, his religious affiliations. I know he's got a lot of flack from a lot of people online because of his, because he's Scientologist. But as far as what he does when he's in front of that camera, oh my God, man.
Yeah,
the dude is extremely talented. Collateral, fuck! How did I forget Collateral?
Dude,
that's another excellent thriller, man. Like this man, I think I go back to what I said. He's at his best for me in those drama roles, and I'd like to see him, step into that a little bit more because I just, I mean, some of my favorite movies, period. Come from him and when he's in that lane,
Well, right now it seems like like I said, with all the action movies, I think maybe he's just into being like the action star and just putting butts in the seats, just trying to give fans a good time at the movies. But,
he's done that in spades.
Yeah, easily. But maybe he should, make everybody remember, pull a Roy Jones Jr. Y'all must have forgot. And like get into that, get into that drama a little bit, and maybe not go award hunting. Maybe definitely find something that fits whatever you're looking for. Mm-hmm. But it'll be nice to see Tom Cruise, like I said, whether it's like a Collateral type of role, or like I said, Jerry Maguire, something that was a little bit like
more drama.
Yeah, more drama, or even if he did comedy, because whether it's the Tropic Thunder. Even he has funny moments in this movie, Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, when they're going over. He's like she's getting trained, or he's getting trained by her, and then she's about to hit the button or like reset him or some shit, and he's like, well, have you tried everything? And she's like, yes. Well, I mean everything. Oh yeah. And she's like, oh, you mean sex? Yeah, I tried it. It's like the way he delivers certain lines. Oh yeah. He has great timing. He did. He in a way he's not Ben Stiller. He hasn't written any comedies or directed anything like him. But I think he's definitely an underrated comedian in his own right, as far as just acting and stuff like that.
No, for sure. And so for those of you who haven't seen this movie, just give you a quick summary. So, a soldier fighting aliens gets to relive the same day over and over again, the day restarting every time he dies. So this screenplay was actually loosely based off of a Japanese novel called All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi. I'm going to butcher this. Sakurazaka? Sakurazaka?
Yeah, Sakurazaka.
Razaka, yeah. I was not privy to that until I actually started doing a little bit of digging. Something also that's fun to note, Brad Pitt, another actor who has got a lot of range and, is definitely a legend in his own right, as Brad Pitt. He was approached for the role of Cage before Cruise, but when they actually moved forward with Cruise for the shooting, they ended up updating Cage's age to just kind of accommodate that. One thing I do want to also point out, for the ending, the co-writer, McQuarrie, I think is how you pronounce his name, he suggested having the Omega, the head alien, reset the day when the aliens discovered Cage's attack on Paris. But they ended up scrapping that because, by that point, the movie was already pretty long. And one thing I definitely will have as a con for me in this movie is I think they could have trimmed some of the flashbacks or some of the Groundhog Day scenes. I mean, this movie is essentially a sci-fi Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
It's very apocalyptic with these aliens who are really just devastating continental Europe, and the Allied forces, who of Europe pulled together to try to launch what they believe to be the final blow to the mimics, which are the aliens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess where do you feel like? Where do you want to jump in? I mean, I think there's a lot of the visual effects were pretty cool. That's definitely a highlight for me that I'm going to speak to.
Yeah, I was
later.
just going to talk about just like what were like some of like your main highlights of it, because I mean, definitely some of the action scenes were a highlight for me. We can get into a couple of the action scenes if you want, but one quick thing I want to notice is the cast is like, it's not a wide ensemble cast or anything, but who you have is very good. I mean, obviously Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, but one of my favorite actors that's in this movie is Bill Paxton, and I think, I mean, he doesn't have a major role, but his role is, he's low key pretty, like kind of like the comic relief in a way.
Yeah.
When like just the way he delivers all his lines to like Tom Cruise's character, and he's kind of like the hard ass. He's like the is he a major or is he I couldn't remember.
I know he outranks him. I can't remember his rank though.
I couldn't remember exactly his rank, but just like every time he comes on the screen, he just fucking makes me laugh.
Yeah, it's funny. Like it's funny seeing him in this role because it harkens back to me in my mind to the drill sergeant of the Marines in Aliens. Except because he's kind of that hard ass, that kind of stereotypical hard ass. Talk shit to them, very demanding, very strict. And Bill Paxton was a soldier in that one, under that drill sergeant, and now he's kind of playing like the head of this the squad. So that was pretty cool to see, like the shoe on the other foot, I guess.
Oh my god, I think he just can't help himself but be funny, dude. Like when he's just like when Tom Cruise, like when they drop down and have to do push-ups, and he tries to roll underneath the car, and he gets ran over for the first time, and he just looks at him like, "What the hell were you thinking?" With like his he's from, was it Sugar Hill or Silent Hill? Not Silent Hill.
God. No wonder he's fucking so crazy.
Was it Silent Park?
I can't remember where.
It was something Kentucky, but he's talking with that. Got him. He's talking with that Kentucky swang, and just like that. What the hell were you thinking? And then like, where the hell that slippery son of a bitch go? he's just as a funny ass character, and I think also like,
we will win.
Yeah, it's like when his mouth is taped too, and he's just trying to. Tom's character
just being a hard ass.
He's trying to like tell everybody like what's going on, but obviously nobody wants to believe him.
Yeah, they think he's a deserter. Yeah. Well, so I mean, just to kind of set the stage, one of the reasons Cage is in this position at this rank is, he has a background of almost being a kind of like brand marketing kind of whiz, and he has been at the front of really selling and spinning the war and kind of keeping up, I wouldn't say enthusiasm, but keeping up morale, and also just kind of selling the story of the war and how the war is going to keep morale high amongst the civilians and the soldiers to some extent. And so he's brought in to his commander, who we learn will be his commander for the the European allies. And he tells Cage that, I want you to be on the beach as we're storming. This is going to be the final blow to, defeat the mimics. And Cage is not a soldier.
Not at all.
He's not a soldier in any sense. And so for me, he's end up going to, he's going to be on the front, which to him is the death sentence. And so he tries to blackmail his commander to fucking basically say, hey, I'll, it's not too hard to turn the tide of public opinion against you. I can make that happen. Yeah. And the commander's is like, oh, is it? Is that right?
First The actor is played wonderfully by Brendan Gleeson. Everybody's probably seen him in some of the other. What was that movie called? Not In Bruges, but it was the like the sequel to In Bruges with Colin Farrell. Can't think of it off the top of my head. But when he's just
also
kind of
in Braveheart. He's an OG, man.
Yeah,
he's great in Braveheart.
He's been in numerous projects, but like I said, while going back earlier when I said about how Tom Cruise's character is actually kind of funny, when he's just like, when he tells him the news and he's just like, well, General, I do what I do and you do what you do. I do what I do because I don't want to mix it, like to get in with the action. And the General's just kind of like looking at him like, yeah, all right, whatever.
This is an order, not an option.
Yeah, exactly. And you think he's got it all like kind of solved, like he kind of thinks that they have an understanding, but then like what you said with the blackmail, he's just like, well, I convinced like a couple 100,000 people to join your war. How easy do you think it would be to, flip the script on you? Because they're going to be looking for somebody to blame when this all hits the fan, because there's going to be casualties. So when
This is a violent movie.
Yeah. So like when people start dying, who do you think they're going to start blaming, and how easy do you think it's going to be for me to blame them? And when he
Have them blame you, yeah.
And so the General gets up, and Brendan Gleeson's kind of a big dude, and Tom Cruise is not a big guy at heart. He may look like he's bigger on screen, but he's not. And he's kind of looks like he's getting intimidated a bit, but then the General kind of gives him a nod like, all right, you won't be there on the front lines. And then as soon as he leaves, he tells the people to arrest him. Tom goes on a sprint, try to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
He ends up getting captured. And from that moment, that's when every time the story gets reset, it picks up where this moment leads on.
Yeah, where
he
he's
just
at the base.
Yeah, he wakes up and he's like
On
woken
your
up
feet,
by
maggot.
Dude, that's pretty much Diet Tony Todd. I don't even know who that dude was. Every time I keep thinking, I think that's Candyman. I'm just like, that looks just like the Candyman dude, but it's not. I know he's on this cast list somewhere. I can't find him right now, but he's on there somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll give him a shout out in the description on the credits. But dude, even then he's just trying to like weasel himself out of there. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
dude, I was just
He's begging and pleading.
Yeah, Bill Paxton comes up to him. He's like, was it a bachelor party? Was it a poker party? What happened? How'd you end up here?
Yeah, demoted. That's the thing, right? He's sent to the base and he's stripped of his rank, and so he's basically like a private, heading into this battle with extremely inexperienced. I mean, he's a dead man walking. Doesn't know how to use the exoskeleton, which actually was a pretty cool visual. The exoskeletons that they used to fight the mimics. And something to really call out at the very beginning. This is kind of cool how they got to set the stage for how humanity is where they are with this war against the mimics. We get these headlines about this meteor crashing in Europe and them spreading throughout continental Europe. And then they talk about the Angel of Verdun, played, so that's Emily Blunt's character, Sergeant Rita Bataski, and how
Full Metal bitch.
one of the things that they said is that, with this exoskeleton that the soldiers are using to fight the mimics, he said it takes, bare minimum, like expertise, like to be able to use these. Like it doesn't take a lot of skill. And the reason they think that is because Bataski, I'm going to call her Rita, Rita had already gotten contaminated by one of the alpha mimics. So that's kind of one of the big puzzle pieces of this story, is that when a alpha mimic, these bluish mimics, are killed and their blood is contaminated with human blood, they are able to reset the day once they die.
They pass on like that ability
From the Omega,
Yeah.
And so Rita has been fighting that Verdun battle for God knows how many years, and so that's why she's so proficient.
Yeah,
that's why somebody
badass.
who had just registered, who just started into the war, somebody who had no military experience is so lethal, because they've literally had years potentially to train.
Yeah.
And reliving the same day. That's why they're so proficient. So they have this false sense of security.
Yeah.
from a military planning standpoint, thinking, oh, these are what's saving us. It's like, no.
No,
And
like,
you about to learn.
this chick that had to go back in time, like, well, not really back in time, had to reset herself.
Yeah,
like
she did go back,
a million
right?
fucking times. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, they don't ever explicitly say like how many times she went back.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have a good shot of her walking and at the front, and all the people in like their gear with like the helmets and
They're
everything.
like in awe of her.
Bro, it was a pretty badass moment because she's not even rocking a helmet. And they even talked to Tom Cruise's character when was it Griff? One of those guys. He's like, "Oh, you're not wearing a helmet? I've never worn a helmet." That's when, like, at that point, Tom Cruise is just like, I don't give a fuck at this point. Like, I'm not even trying to save anybody. I've gone back I don't know how many fucking times. I'm just gonna get to my final point. I don't care. 'Cause like they switch it up. That's why he looks super drunk. He looks kind of sweaty and shit. And he just like sees like the fat dude get crushed.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like, even they do something like with the audio. It's almost like they make it sound like he's just not even paying attention to nothing. He can't even hear anything.
Yeah,
He
he's
just has,
like locked in.
He's locked in. He has tunnel vision.
He's
just,
fought
like,
that battle so many times. And there's that funny scene, right? This is a little bit later, after actually a pretty important scene. But he's preparing to go into battle, and the guy says, "Where's your helmet?" He said, "Don't need one." And he's like, "Have you been drinking?"
Yeah, that's it. And he's just like, I'm gonna need like
two batteries,
3 clips, and 8 grenades.
Yeah,
It's like, oh my god, he's
Rambo.
He's fucking ready for it.
Yeah, he's ready. He's locked and loaded.
Dude, but also what I was gonna mention too about Emily Blunt's character Rita. Dude, like she's whipping out like the Final Fantasy blade because I'm like, dude, you're trying to fight these aliens. Everybody's got guns. It's a badass thing, but it's like, girl, you are using a melee weapon with these fucking aliens.
You want to kill them from a distance.
You may want to just put the sword down.
Yo, that sword was fucking filthy though.
She was working it though.
Yeah, she was.
I got to give it to her. She was working it, but that may not be my weapon of choice
Yeah,
in a battle like that.
She said, "I want them to feel my blade."
I want to get up close and personal.
Yeah, I know that's such an intimate way of like fighting, like with a knife or a sword. Like, oh man,
Like I said, that wouldn't be my weapon of choice. I mean, if I'm fighting slow zombies like Walking Dead, like Michonne and Walking Dead,
man.
dude, I would take a fucking katana and just go
because
ape shit.
Well, because there's also like the sound factor, right? With
Yeah.
guns, you trigger more zombies or more mimics
Yeah.
potentially. If you're if you're just kind of doing one at a time, or like a crossbow, like old boy had.
But if it's like 28 days, is it 28 days later? Or like I Am Legend type of like
28
creatures?
days later, yeah.
Bro, if it's those running
Motherfuckers
motherfuckers,
are sprinting.
I guess I'll have to give me that. Give me that gat.
I'm gonna have to hit you with that sawed off work.
Give me a couple of Dick Tracy's and let me go.
That
at
Tommy
'em.
gun.
Yeah.
Oh man. I think for me one of the highlights of this movie was like the relationship between Cage and Rita. It definitely had like this 51st dates. I don't know if you guys remember that movie with Drew Barrymore, where she kind of has this condition where she can't remember past a day. And so, or whatever time frame it was. So she goes on these multiple dates with the same guy. This was kind of what the vibe was like with Cage and Rita. It's like we see them caught in this loop where she has amnesia over their past, but he's grown to know her very intimately, very well over what feels like many lifetimes. I really loved the way that this movie ended as well, where it circles back to them. I thought that was a really good way of ending the movie. And I liked it because it kind of we kind of see like there are feelings. He does develop feelings for her. And he does care about her too. And I think when he realizes he can't save her because of, she has it, like she's made up in her mind, she just won't listen to him. Like I think that when he realizes and accepts that, that's a shift that happens within him.
Yeah, you see that as soon as it's a quick funny scene, like when they're huddled up and they're trying to like figure out what's next, and they're like, all right, go for the car, unhook the trailer, and blah blah blah. And then they go and they start running. Bro, when they're running with those suits,
so bulky.
It's so fucking hilarious because it's like they're moving really fast, but not quite that. It doesn't look that fast. It looks like they're almost in slow motion. When they're fighting, it looks badass because they're almost like gliding, almost ice skating and fighting in a way.
Yeah, no, it's true. It
looks sick when they're fighting, but when they're like running, it looks almost kind of funny. It's not a highlight, but it's not a low light for me. But when they get the trailer, they get the car, a mimic pops out of the trailer, ends up, and that leads to I think a good action scene when Tom pops out of the trunk, not the trunk, but the sunroof, and then the guns come out of the suit, and he ends up fucking laying waste to that mimic. And
he told her too, cut the trailer. He literally told her that.
But he didn't say, like, I wonder, did he know that there was a mimic in there? Because it looked like it surprised him. He was just thinking more like, like you said, you didn't want any dead weight. I think the mimic took them both by surprise, though. Because it's not like, I think he would have said that, like, unhook the trailer, there was a mimic inside.
Well, I think he would have said that too, but I know he did say unhook the trailer.
Yeah, he definitely unhooked.
Of course, she forgot.
Like, yeah, exactly. He's like, I forgot. And then, boom, that thing just pops out.
That was a good scene. What'd you think of the mimics visually?
The what?
What did you think of the mimics, like visually?
Oh, the mimics. I thought you said the mix. I was like,
the mimics. The mimics.
I'm like, what
the mimics are the aliens.
Honestly, that was one of my negatives.
Really?
Just because I would have to sway slightly on the negative side. Because, I mean, they move kind of cool, like, especially when they're fighting on the beach and how it feels like it's going like 360 around all the soldiers and it's just fucking everybody up. It has, like, moments where it looks dope, but I feel like when, like, towards the end, when Tom Cruise is kind of being not surrounded, but he's on that tunnel or whatever, and he's got an alpha, and then there's another one right behind him. When they're kind of, like, the alphas look kind of cool because it feels more personality. You can see the face almost to it. I feel like the other ones just... I don't know. It just didn't really do a whole lot for me. Yeah, it doesn't look bad as far as like the effects. The effects look great in this movie. Even like when they're dropping out of the plane and there's a whole lot of shit going on. The effects look great, but I don't know. I feel like I could have gotten a little bit more. It's like maybe you don't have to go full on like Stranger Things, like a Demogorgon or in a Quiet Place, like those monsters, like the detail. But I think I would appreciate a little bit more personality to the monster. Not as far as like I don't need them like like visual personality. Like have something a little bit more interesting going on for me. I don't know. What about you?
I did like them. I thought they looked pretty cool. They almost something about them was kind of almost like octopus like. They had like these long tentacles that they could use as sharp objects to stab and kill people. And I thought like their actual like the mouths of them, especially you get to your point, you get a better visual sense of that with the alpha with the blue mimics.
Those ones look pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like the beach scene when it's like I said, it's going around. That definitely felt very octopus like when they're like even like towards was it about the beginning ish when Cage is just like Tom Cruise's character is just like hey and the thing just comes out of the sand and it just starts going around. It's like whoa fuck.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
I think the action sequences, by and large, are actually really dope. I'm just thinking, like, I mean, there's a lot of action in this movie, but I think the storyline is fun and complements it. I just think, something I mentioned earlier, I didn't need all of these flashbacks. I think that it kind of made this movie feel a little bit bloated at times, and I think that they could have trimmed that, because this movie is, how many minutes?
I want to say 145-ish?
113 minutes.
153.
Yeah. Wait, I saw 113.
Yeah,
you said 153?
Yeah, at hour 53.
So sorry, 153. I thought you said 153 minutes.
No.
Yeah. I got you. I mean, I think that they could have trimmed some of those scenes, and I think it still could have had the effect that they were aiming for.
Yeah. Or even just like move it along, how like they just like get to further along the story, maybe not go back as much, just keep progressing it a little bit. Because like when they go to Brendan Gleeson and they finally get the thing out of the safe, and he's just like, or they're like, all right, so what now? And he's just like, I don't know, I've never gone this far. Yeah. Like maybe if you could have thrown in, maybe don't like say that exact same joke over and over again, but maybe do something along those lines as far as like, I never made it this far, so I don't know what's next.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting?
Or at least maybe we haven't seen this part of the story. Maybe they've already lived it, but we haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, there's an old school video game aspect to this storyline too, because when you die, you have to start all the way back from the beginning. And when you see this movie, you realize it took a lot of steps to get to certain places. And so to have to start from scratch every time, oh man, no wonder he became so skilled in some of the things that he did. He was training with Rita. Those scenes were pretty fun. Especially she's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." She's like, "What'd you say? Like, your leg's broken or something?"
I think I broke my back.
Yeah, well, there's that one, right? And then where he's he gets knocked down. She's like, "You okay?" And she's about to come up and kill him. He's like, "No, I'm all right." Yeah. And she's like, "I can tell like your leg is broken." So she like pops him. You know what I mean? Like that becomes like a funny part of their dynamic.
It's so funny because like she's just so quick to just like want to reset.
Yeah.
And even like when he gets shot in the leg and they get into the accident. And he wakes up, and they do a great visual of showing his eyes, and his eyes have changed, and that just shows he's lost the power now because you can't you can die as many times as you want, but as soon as like your blood gets transferred or you lose any part of your blood or you get new blood put in you, then you lose that power, and so he gets a blood transfusion because he lost blood from like the gunshot wound. Yeah, and she just comes in there and she's just like, "Oh, you're still strapped in this bed? I was out in 3 minutes flat." And then she just flips him over and she's just gonna stab him. And he's like, "Wait! I've lost the power.
I swear I've lost it.
I've lost the power. Like, don't fucking stab me. From this point on, it's all real. We can't reset the day anymore." So like their whole dynamic is great in this movie, and she's not the comic relief, but she has funny moments because she's just so quick to just grab the pistol. Even when they're having their
she's trigger happy.
Like,
War's made her trigger happy.
She's getting some sort of stitches put on her back by Mike Cage, and she's just like, she just grabs the pistol like, "Let me just reset the day. I'm in pain. We've gone blah blah blah. Let's just do this. Like, let's just start over." It's like, bitch, just put the pistol down.
Let's talk about
this
it.
Out. All right, let's chill. But
that's when she realizes, how many times have we been here?
Yeah, I was gonna say that leads into what you said earlier.
Because she knew he was hiding the keys to the helicopter.
Well, once he slipped up when he's just like, "Oh no, you like 3 sugars." And that's when she's like.
That's when that was the give. Yeah.
But she's like, they do have like like I said, a great dynamic with like he's like starts to develop like feelings for her naturally because of like how much time he's spending with her. And like I said, that started off with like the car ride after they get the trailer when he starts like, "Yeah, your middle name is Peyton." And like he's just kind of fucking with her because he's like, "You're gonna open up to me eventually." Yeah. Like you naturally do. You're just putting up this wall right now. And then they get a nice moment when she eventually has her when she dies out of the helicopter crash. And she tells him her real middle name, but she's just so stubborn. Because she's such a soldier at heart. She talks about how like she volunteered for the war and she doesn't want to get the only. He mentioned that they've tried every other like tactic. And every time she dies, this is as far as she goes. Yeah. But the only tactic they haven't tried is just for her just to chill out in the basement, eat some ravioli and some saltines.
Some ramen.
And chill out for a little bit. Let me go kill the Omega and I'll come back.
Yeah.
But she, like I said, she's a soldier at heart.
She's so invested too, because of what she's been through, I think...
she's going to see it through.
She feels like she's chosen in some sense because of what happened to see it through. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that dynamic. One thing I do want to also say, just like as far as the highlights, I think the visuals of Cage's initial death were really cool. We see the explosion from the Claymore mine. And that's what kills the alpha mimic, and it's blood. We see its blood mingle with him as he's dying. Yeah. That was just seeing like the effects of that mine on him. That was like really, really intense.
Dude, how he jumps up to like it's a bad dream.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This movie just has a lot of
on your feet, maggot. That's what he hears every time he dies. That's what wakes him up.
Yeah, really, you mentioned it earlier about like how like exhausting that can be, and I want to say it was after the Emily Blunt death, the one that really hits him when she tells him her middle name is Rose, because that's when like when he gets woken up, he's just a little slower to get up this time, and he just feels a lot more annoyed. And that's what I said. That's when like they go into more shot. He looks sweaty, he looks drunk, tired, annoyed, pissed off, and at this moment he's just like, well, she won't listen. I don't give a fuck. I don't even care about the troops, the J Squad.
He ends up deserting. He goes to that bar in London or wherever that bar was, and he deserts again.
When he's like, I've died more times than I can count or whatever, and he's like, I actually should be dead by now. And then he looks over and that guy's like,
Coward. It's like Osborne.
He even
Coward.
He even gives him like a grunt back, like, you motherfucker, you just don't even know. And that even provides a great visual when he goes out and they show the
On the
mimics
bridge.
in the
Yeah.
river.
That was really
That
dope.
was like a great visual as well.
Yeah.
But just seeing how just like by that time he was just pissed off, fed up, and then he even went back to Emily Blunt, Rita, to go and talk to her. But then he's like, nah,
It's not worth it.
fuck
you know?
it, no, because she's not gonna listen. She's just gonna end up dying. I'm gonna end up hurting myself because I'm caring about this woman. So let me just go do this on my own. But then, they get. I don't know if do you even want to bring up the other character, the scientist?
Well, I thought the scientist was cool because he had fallen to disgrace because he had the theory about the Omega and how that works, and his superiors, like the commander, didn't believe him, and so he ended up being kind of demoted, essentially. But he ends up creating this device where once you actually inject it into Cage, who's an alpha, or somebody like Cage whose blood had been mingled with an alpha. Once you actually inject that, it'll provide a visual of what the Omega's seeing.
Oh yeah, where's it at?
And where it's at, and that would help them, and that sets the stage for like the final act where Rita and Cage recruit some other folks to go with them to Paris to kill this thing, and this is like a suicide mission.
Man,
basically.
when they get the device, because that's when the scientist pretty much tells them, like, you meet the scientist through Rita, because Rita obviously had the power earlier, so that's how you meet the scientist. But he says like you have to get the device from
the commander, yeah,
from Whitehall,
yeah,
and that's when they end up going and they have the interaction with Brandon Gleeson again, and they end up getting the device, and that's when he's like, well, I've never gone this far, so I don't know what to do next. But they eventually they get halted at the door because they're about to get arrested. But then they end up getting into a car, and then they grab the device, and he's just like, where do I stick it? And she's just like, right in your fucking leg,
bro.
And he stabs it in, and then that provides a nice visual as well with everything is like his eyes go all black, and everything is like slowing down.
Yeah.
And then he starts seeing the visuals of exactly where the Omega is.
That was a good scene.
That's at the Louvre. It's in Paris. It's like pretty much like it's underneath the museum.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, from there on, they try to recruit the J Squad, and they do that by like, he has to just pretty much tell them about themselves. He has to prove that like, I have relived this day. You need to try to follow me. And even after like he's said like, oh boys, like middle school teacher's name and their dog and yada yada yada, they don't want to follow him because they just met this dude. But if they're gonna meet somebody and follow somebody, that's when they bring in Rita, because she's the full metal bitch. She's the badass. So if
Angel of Verdun.
Yeah, if you're gonna follow anybody blindly into battle,
She has that credibility.
she's the best person to follow into battle.
Yeah.
So from there on, they got the J Squad, they got Tom, they got Rita. I keep calling him Tom. I don't even want to call him by his name. But so they got the crew together, and it almost like it's like a beach scene because they end up getting to the plane. Ends up crashing again. It's like these motherfuckers still know that they're coming, but from there on, like he can't reset the day. So like the stakes have risen a lot at this point.
I thought that was a really cool. I like that they added that plot point too, because again, like you said, it raised the stakes. There is no do-over after this point. One thing I do want to call out as a highlight for me was conceptually, I really like the idea of time manipulation. By a day, so they were able to manipulate time by going back 24 hours into the past. I like that conceptually as a defense mechanism for the Omega. When an Alpha is killed, that signals to the Omega that the battle didn't go as planned, and so they can reset the day to plan accordingly, to update their plan of attack. I thought that was a really cool defense mechanism, because when I think about really like dope defense mechanisms, obviously the xenomorph and alien, its blood being acid, that was like a super like really cool, not only visually but conceptually, like damn, like how do you kill something whose blood can harm you?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And so with this one, like defense mechanism was being able to reset the day. I thought, damn, like how do you defeat an enemy? I mean, that's like an interesting challenge. Like they're a day ahead of you at least.
Like every time, it's like every time you kill it, now it just knows like up to that point.
Yeah,
Of how
it can literally completely change its strategy, which they did, and that's why how they set the trap for Verdun, and that's why it was the slaughter that it was.
That's why oh boy even mentions it when he's hiding out or when he's in like the trench or whatever, and he's just like, they weren't even supposed to know that we were coming.
Yep.
And so it's like, now you know how they knew. It's because they got this wonderful little trick that they are able to reset the day.
No, 100%, man. Well, any other highlights or anything you want to cover like before we pivot to scores?
Man, I don't think I have any other things I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
As far as this goes,
Yeah. All right.
like I said, I thought the cast was great.
Mm-hmm.
I've already mentioned we already talked about Bill Paxton, Brendan Gleeson. The action was great.
The visual effects were.
I wonder if they were
fun.
like. I mean, it's not comparing the two, like saying like one's better. Obviously, it's like a much more serious movie. But having like Saving Private Ryan has like that. It's a war movie on the beach. It's obviously based on a true story, but I wonder if this was like trying to pay homage in a way to that type of like war battle beach scene. If you're fighting aliens, it's not going to be as serious or have like that emotional type of impact or anything like that. But I wonder if they were trying to like, give their own
kind of twist on that.
Yeah, their own little twist to a storming the beaches of Normandy type of feel to it.
I could definitely see that. Especially this is because the allies in this movie kind of viewed themselves as like, this is our D-Day.
Yeah.
Like this is where we,
because that's pretty much where they lose everything.
We seize victory, you know what I mean? But that's an interesting point to think of, I mean, one of my favorite war movies that I've ever seen, period, was 1917. Visually, that was such an incredible movie, man. Like the camera, the cinematography where you're just in these trenches, what feels like just one long continuous cut, man. Beautiful movie.
I love how it was cut that way, how it feels like one continuous shot.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
In the trenches, especially like when they go into the German trenches, it's very claustrophobic. It just like the set design as well for that movie was just top tier. Anyways.
Another war movie I think people should check out if they haven't is Lone Survivor, based on a true story. It's starring Mark Wahlberg and Ben Foster. Ben Foster, I don't think gets enough credit as an actor. Everything he touches, he's in. He's great. Who else is in that? Oh boy from...
I haven't seen that one.
I'm going to say his name is Taylor Kitsch. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He was in that movie John Carter.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's a badass movie. Really sad too. Like I said, based on a true story, and obviously it's titled Lone Survivor because unfortunately there is only one survivor. And if you know the story, I mean, then you know. But before we dive into the scores, one thing, it was something that I said to myself when I was watching this, when they get introduced to the J Squad and they're going around, and it's like the first time like he's kind of getting introduced, and I'm just like, why is everybody like mean mugging him? I'm just like, is it just because he's like coming in like an officer's uniform? And it's just like, oh, who's this motherfucker? It's like, why is everybody so fucking pissed off? Like he's coming in to to just replace everybody. Like, all right, y'all get the fuck out of here. This new guy's taking over because everybody's like coming in. And then I was like, oh, look at this fucking bitch over here. Her name was like Nance. I'm like, look at this Bellatrix Lestrange looking ass. I'm like, get your Harry Potter bitch ass over here chewing on those fucking playing cards. I was like, why is everybody just looking at him so just devious and just so like when they're chewing on the cards and everything? It's like, bitch, it's not my fault.
I didn't snitch on you.
You should have hid the cards better. Including you, fat boy. I don't know why that dude was looking all sweaty and shit. Oh my god, that was one of the dudes like the dude that fights pretty much naked in his underwear.
Yo, that was
just crushed, bro. Why?
He has a teddy bear fastened to the front of his suit. Yeah, that's so funny.
That dude looked weak.
He did not take the war seriously.
Not at all. I guess that's why he ends up getting crushed.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise just looked at him like, dude, I'm not gonna.
He tried saving him in the past, but he looked at him. He was like,
I can't keep running and pushing your big ass out of the way. But I'm ready to do a pivot to scores, man.
Well, one thing to quickly call out. I mean, I know they've been in conversation for a sequel to this movie for a few years now. I know some of the latest that I saw is that Cruise and Warner Brothers had kind of formed a partnership earlier this year, and that the talk is still on the table for a sequel. I'd see it. I mean, I really enjoyed this movie, and that'll be reflected in my score.
I think it's gotten like a good following over the years. I'm not sure how well it did. It looks like the budget was 178, box office was 370. So I don't think it did too bad, but I'm guessing they probably wanted to perform probably a little bit better, knowing like the name recognition of Tom Cruise. You would think maybe you'd probably want to get to that $500 million. Anything action related with Tom Cruise, I guess you probably want to get to that $500 million mark, but 370 ain't too bad, and I think it's gotten like good reviews as time has been on. And I don't know where you could go with like the sequel, because I mean we'll just say it now, because Tom Cruise ends up finding the Omega. Him and Emily Blunt are pretty much the only ones left, and she goes to try to like distract one of the alphas, but the alpha ends up just smashing her ass, and he ends up running off, finds the Omega, he's swimming towards it. That thing ends up poking his ass like Steve Irwin, unfortunately, and then he ends up fucking throwing the damn grenades into the Omega and blows everything up. But I think it ends up, and he ends up getting covered with all like the blood or whatever. And the day doesn't end up resetting. I mean, it does end up resetting, but he starts when he's in the helicopter, kind of towards like the beginning-ish of the movie.
At the very end of the movie, yeah.
Yeah. And so like it doesn't pick up, with the whole like, get on your feet, maggot. It just picks up from a different point, but everybody like survives and all that type of stuff. And he goes to meet Rita. He has like a little bit of a laugh, and it cuts to the credits. And so I don't know where you could go with the next one. Like, I think it wrapped this story in a nice bow. I wouldn't mind them leaving it untouched, but if they want to go with a different route, I'll be interested to see where they go. Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, Bill Paxton, Brandon Gleeson, they didn't die in this movie, so I would love to have. Oh no, Bill Paxton's he's passed.
Yeah, he passed away. Yeah.
No. Oh shit. Okay.
R.I.P.
Well then, yeah, R.I.P. Damn.
Yeah.
Well, Brandon Gleeson's still around, so you could bring at least those three back. Doug Liman, if he's still on board with directing. I'll be interested to see where they go with the second movie for sure.
No, for sure, man. All right, yeah. I'll start us off. Yeah. For me, man, this is a 4. I really enjoy this movie. It's very fun. Has a lot of replay value. It's also it offers a little bit more. Like there's, like I said, that semi-romantic aspect that kind of comes to fruition with Rita and Cage, but also just love seeing like this movie. You see the development of Cage from somebody who is, very self-serving and very opportunistic, but also very, completely inexperienced in war. And by the end of this movie, we see him transform into something else. And I thought that was really cool to see, as with the storyline. But no, this is a 4 for me. Really fun sci-fi movie. It actually, I didn't see it when it came out. I saw it a few years after. I think you actually recommended this to me, a couple years ago, and that was the first time I saw it. And yeah, definitely worth checking out if you are into sci-fi movies. It doesn't disappoint.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did not watch this when it came out in theaters, but when on streaming. I want to say I watched this when I might have been on a Tom Cruise little tip for a bit. I think it was around that time American Made might have came out.
Did you just say you were on a Tom Cruise tip?
I told you, it's always something.
My God, man.
But I was going through a Tom Cruise phase. Let me say that.
That's better, but not much.
But I was like going back and watching like some Tom Cruise movies, and I was like, oh shit, because I watched American Made, and then I was like, let me check out this Edge of Tomorrow. It's already been out, and I definitely wasn't disappointed in that movie. Yeah. It has a lot of rewatchability to me because it's very fun. The aliens, even though visually, it's hit or miss for me in some aspects. But it like I said, it has a lot of rewatchability. It's very fun. It's not too long, only an hour 53. It can get a little repetitive in some moments, like with the whole Groundhog Day type of stuff. But I think they remix it. Like they don't have you relive the exact same scene. I think they change it up just enough to make it feel just a little bit fresh. The cast helps a lot with that. Bill Paxton, R.I.P., is wonderful in this movie. Anytime you see a cast list, if Bill Paxton's name pops up, you might as well check it out because he's always going to deliver a great performance.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I'm going with a 4 as well. If you haven't seen this movie, definitely give it a watch. It's not at the top of like either of their lists, I don't think, but it is definitely far from the bottom.
No, I'm with you there. Man, well, pivoting away from this, what are you high on, man? What are you high on that's coming up or on the horizon or that you're watching right now? I know I got a couple things. Man,
well, something that I am watching right now that is kind of like surprised me in a bit is Agatha All Along, the new Marvel Disney Plus show. Have you checked that out? It's about you remember Agatha, the chick from WandaVision?
I thought you were about Agatha Christie for a second when you first said that. I was just
Agatha Christie, who's
that?
Yeah,
like those mystery books.
Oh, I was like, that name sounds so familiar. But
I think she was mystery books. But yeah,
she was the character played by Catherine Hahn. She was the woman,
the neighbor.
Yeah, the neighbor.
Yeah. I actually like her. I really like her.
I love her as an actress. Like she's great in comedies. I mean, Step Brothers. She's a legend in that movie. Oh my god. Yeah, she's a fucking legend in that.
She was a bluesy in that movie.
But dude, and she's kind of like. I want to say she's like hot, but
she's
like,
very attractive.
Yeah, and I want to say it's episode 1 or 2, bro. She's like gets naked and they show her little cheeks like walking across. I'm like, all right, Catherine, you got something back there.
This is on my watch list.
I know. Make a note of that. But the show is, I want to say, is one of their best shows that they've done recently. Disney Plus in general has just this thing with like these sometimes 20-minute episodes, 30-minute. I'm not saying like you have to be an hour to be a good show. There's plenty of shows that do 30-minute episodes and they're very well done.
Yeah.
But Disney Plus has an issue with pacing. And I want to say it had something to do with because they never had any showrunners for their shows. It was just like each director that was doing the episode would just do their own thing. Yeah. And kind of instead of having somebody to oversee the whole ensemble and know where the whole narrative is going. And they said they finally did that for Agatha. And if that is true, then it's quite noticeable because this is definitely like they still have those episodes where it's like, God damn it, when you start it, it's like 34 minutes. And I'm like, I know you got to have the intros, the outros, the credits, all blah. I'm like, so like
it's more like 28, right? 27.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe. And so it's like, just stop doing. Even those episodes still feel decently paced, but it's like, man, the heavy hitters. Like, look at HBO. Those motherfuckers just know how to do it. Start taking some aspects of how they're doing their pacing, and I feel like they will do so much better. But Agatha All Along, I think, is one of their best shows that they've done recently. It's up there with WandaVision, with Loki, in my opinion.
Loki was outstanding, bro.
But yeah, both seasons, I really enjoyed it. Even like Falcon Winter Soldier was okay in some aspects.
Yeah.
But Agatha All Along, I gotta watch.
Obviously, Mandalorian.
The first 2 seasons were good. I'm gonna say the 3rd season was a little bit of a letdown. But what was I about to say? Yeah, just Agatha All Along. I gotta watch the last 2 episodes because they dropped their last 2 for their finale. But so far, up till now, it's been a great show. If you haven't quite fallen off on the Marvel TV shows and Disney Plus yet, you may want to come back and just give this one a chance. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's not gonna like blow your hair back as far as like I said, like Penguin or something like that. But it's well done. So Agatha is something I'm definitely high on right now. What about you?
Man, what's on? What I'm high on. So I read this week that the Mandalorian and Grogu film that's dropping in 2026. It was reported that they wrapped up filming. So
it's done.
That they wrapped up filming. Yeah, that's one of the headlines I saw on Screen Rant.
I didn't even know they started.
Well, I saw that they were gonna. It's they've been talking about this, I think, since earlier this year, or if not last year. I mean, I'm a big fan of all 3 seasons. I love that storyline. That show is one of my favorite things that Disney has put out, show-wise, period. And I mean, let's just be real, dude. The fucking theme song slaps.
Ludwig does no wrong.
This man is in his bag.
Dude, I sent it to you. He does the Boba Fett theme song too, and Boba Fett show, like, damn near all the Star Wars shows are not. I mean, but take out Mandalorian and like whether it's Boba Fett or
Andor, I've heard really good things about.
Her Andor's great, yes. So maybe take out that one as well. But I mean, I heard that one's kind of mixed because I heard critically it's well done, like the awards and everything. But some Star Wars fans, I think, are just kind of like, it's almost too highbrow in a way, or it's almost too just like political. And as far as like it's too much like
I mean, the
dialogue.
show itself is political.
I feel like
the movies are
I
political.
feel like
even.
they want more of just like, you know, the lightsabers and the more the fighting and yada yada yada, instead of just like maybe like the almost Game of Thrones type of like dialogue of like backstabby. I don't know. I haven't seen the show,
got you.
but I just feel like it's gotten like some mixed reviews. Like critically, like the awards people, like they love it, but I feel like some Star Wars fans definitely have very mixed feelings on the show.
Yeah,
But the other shows like are kind of like a bit of a miss in a way, but Mandalorian has definitely delivered. Oh, that's where I was going with it. I almost lost my train of thought. The Boba Fett theme song with Ludwig.
Yeah.
That thing is a banger.
Yeah.
Banger. I don't know if it's better than the Mandalorian one because that one's almost legendary at this point.
Yeah.
But Ludwig does no wrong with that.
Man, so I was just gonna say that I would say that is I'm high on that, man. I'm very excited for when that drops. Definitely, a little ways out. But also, I saw the teaser for Daredevil: Born Again, which is dropping next spring. Man, very excited. I've been a big fan of the original Daredevil series, especially the second season with the Punisher. Man, I'm here for it. Can't wait.
I gotta check out that teaser.
Yeah,
that's one thing I gotta do.
But that wraps up our show for this week. Man, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.